Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. I'm a little disappointed we don't actually get Raj singing Kiss on this one. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do that. But, hey, a lot of stuff going on. And, man, what a good time to have our next guest on, Pat Dooley from the Gainesville Sun. Nobody knows more about the Florida program than Pat Dooley does, and he joins us. I guess a reasonably busy afternoon for you, Pat.
I just want to talk Rays baseball.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, we can't do that either because my producer's an Astros guy. So,
okay.
So sorry.
Well, hopefully, we'll see you in the next round.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's a little bummed out about baseball right now, so I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to talk about that. Hey, walk me through the timeline on this. Obviously, we heard a couple days ago. Dan Mullen was talking about wanting to put 90,000 in the swamp. I think yesterday he was saying that they had been sort of a model program following all the protocols and everything, and then boom, the game gets rescheduled. Walk me through kind of the timeline as you know it, and when did they know that they were going to have some issues?
Yeah, it has been interesting. And again, look, you can do all the protocols you want, but you can only protect people that want to be protected. And in this case, it wasn't anything wrong or malicious, but they had a couple players that went on the trip, and they think this is where it came from, who had the sniffles, and they thought it was allergy. And they still should have gone to the trainer and said, hey, blah, 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 we need to get tested. Turns out they tested positive. It might have been the spreaders. We don't know that 100%, but it's probable because they got on a plane. And they knew they had it Friday. So, it is what it is there. You can only do so much. I mean, we saw Notre Dame have a bunch of people test positive because a guy puked up his breakfast.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. But on Sunday morning they tested. Sunday, the head trainer here, Paul Silvestri, called Scott Strickland and Dan Mullen and said, hey, we may have a problem here. We've got 4 or 5 guys that are testing positive. And then they did another test, and it was worse. And they decided let's shut everything down Tuesday. And again, it kept spreading. So now they're up to 18 players, plus 3 walk-ons, plus a couple of coaches and some other people. And as a result, when you count in people who already are being, quarantined and injuries, they don't have enough players. So here we go. It's typical Florida LSU week. They aren't going to play the game.
That's it. It is what it is. It's a hurricane or it's COVID. I'm sure next year it'll be a COVID hurricane of some sort. It is remarkable. So now that I think the question becomes, tentatively it's been scheduled for that open date at the end of the regular season before the championship on December the 12th. Championships on the 19th. Could this be an issue? And I don't think it's an issue for LSU. I don't think LSU is going anywhere. But let's say Florida kind of gets the defensive issues righted. They find a way to beat Georgia. They're very much in the race for the East. Could we see an issue where, hey, we're not so sure we want to play the week right before the SEC title game?
No, I think they'll have to play it.
Yeah.
Unless LSU comes up with some issues, physically. But the problem for Florida is they're going to go Tennessee, LSU back-to-back to end the season and then go play the SEC championship game. So that would be the best case scenario for them is certainly not a good case. And I think there's kind of a feeling among the Gator faithful of, well, this isn't going to work out this year. So, and again, they've watched Georgia play, and I don't think they feel confident they can beat Georgia anymore. They did at the beginning of the year, and I don't think they feel as confident now. But heck, it's a game; anything could happen. But we're sitting here right now, and they can't assure us there's going to be a game next Saturday against Missouri,
right?
Here at Gainesville. So we don't know where this is going to go, and I don't think anybody knows how many games are going to end up being played. Maybe some teams play 10 and some play 9, but certainly this has been a weird few days. Because again, today Dan Mullen comes out on the conference call and apologizes for the comments he made. He finally backed off of that, which we knew he was going to,
right?
Because it was stupid to say. And he backs off of it, and then I think part of it was because he knew what was going on within his program.
Yeah, and Scott Strickland, the AD, even came out and said he kind of as gently as he could rebuff his head coach, he did, and basically said, sometimes football coaches talk about stuff they don't really understand or know, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
He mentioned that today with Michael Zardo, who is in charge of infectious disease over at UFL. So actually, my wife works over there, so I know him really well. And he said that they were having a conversation, and he said, hey, if Dan is going to be in charge of infectious disease, can I call some plays? Which is pretty funny because, I mean, look, we all knew that when he said that, it almost went like our ears perked up and we went, whoa, back up here, Sparky.
Yeah.
You're not putting 90,000. You couldn't put 17,000 in when you had that. People don't want to go to games and have no tailgating and wear a mask and take a risk by sitting next to people. They don't want to go. At least here in Gainesville, they don't want. They don't want to travel and stay in hotels and all that. So that wasn't going to happen. It was just kind of silly that he said it. Yeah.
Well, and hey, maybe your infectious disease expert can call some defense. I'm sure Florida fans would be okay with that.
I think I could call some defense, but I do think there's I think it's a double whammy. I think everybody we're seeing is struggling with defense.
Yeah.
And LSU and think about this: LSU, Alabama, Florida are all in like the bottom 8 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I looked this up. 5 of the 6 Power 5 teams that are at the bottom of the standings are in the SEC. I think it's a combination of things. I certainly think that people are afraid to hit right now.
Yeah,
they're afraid to hit because they lose players. And then they have the situation like Florida has. They could end up forfeiting or not forfeiting games, but postponing games. And also, I think not having spring. Spring's when you learn to tackle. That's when you learn how to tackle, to be a good tackler. It's not so much in the fall, but you didn't have the spring. And then, it's just the weirdness of everything. Everything is weird. And it doesn't feel real to these guys sometimes. But I think Florida's got real personnel issues that go beyond that.
Yeah. Talking to Pat Dooley from the Gainesville Sun. Just to go a little bit more esoteric on you for a second, because I know you're a smart man. I think 2020 is a Greek tragedy. Like every time someone expresses some hubris or some pride, 2020 is like, wait a second. We're not going to have that. Trump gets COVID after saying that COVID's not a big deal. Mullen says we're doing everything right. We're a model program. They get it. I just feel like 2020 is just running around smacking anyone who's willing to open their mouth.
Yeah, I think we all kind of feel like, I can't believe all the great baseball stars that have died. So hopefully that's the end of it. Oh, who died today?
Right, exactly.
And look, he's up there in heaven. They've got their starting rotation. They've got some of their infield, some of their outfield. Lay off, man.
Yeah, y'all can hang on
for
just
Eddie
a little
Van
bit.
Halen to play the national anthem.
Right. It's brutal, my friend. It is. All right, so you mentioned that there's some thoughts that maybe you could see this impacting next week. What then do you think maybe goes back? Do we see an impact from Texas A&M, do you believe? Because you got to imagine if these kids were symptomatic and not reporting it, hey, I got sniffles, feels like allergies, there is a chance that maybe A&M picked up some of this. Are you then concerned that we may backtrack and see A&M affected?
I don't think so, because we have what they have will tell you. In fact, Scott Strickland mentioned this today.
Mm-hmm.
Is players are not getting, even people that are infected are not giving it to other players on the field.
Yeah.
The NFL is saying it doesn't happen. We have not had a problem with that. I don't think it's happened in college either. I think it's just when you're out in the open air, it's a little different deal. And but you would think all that breathing on each other, you might get something, but apparently that's not the issue. I don't think A&M. I know they're testing, and I think they've been good so far. So I think it's more that Florida just not only you got a couple players who had it. They get on a plane or on a long plane ride, then you stay in a hotel, you eat the meal together. Even when you're trying to separate them, it's still going to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get back on a plane and back in a locker room. Traveling is the biggest issue that I think teams are going to have, even going forward. I don't think we're done with this, not just Florida, but I think you're going to see other teams have a problem because of travel.
Do you think this may be a blessing in disguise for really both of these teams? Both defensive coordinators for Florida and LSU are under siege after giving up a lot of points. Miles Brennan apparently is hurt. Coach O said he was doubtful to play on Saturday. Is this maybe a blessing in disguise that they get an extra week to sort of sit back, work some things out, maybe get healthy? You mentioned there's a couple of guys banged up on Florida squad as well. Could this be a blessing in disguise?
Well, it may be for LSU because of Brennan's injury. I think that was the one that kind of caught us by surprise, that he was considered doubtful. But I think those defenses all want to get out and play again. They want to try to figure – they're not going to get better watching tape, and they're not going to get better sitting on their butts eating cheeseburgers. So they need to get out there and play games and hit people to get better. That's the only way I think they're going to get better. So I don't think it was a blessing in disguise, but I think maybe – a little bit for LSU just because of the injury to Brennan.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know if they're getting any better sitting on their butts eating cheeseburgers, but that's how I get better. That's how I improve around here. There's no doubt about that.
Well, that's what I just did right before I wrote that column.
Perfect.
Like 30 minutes.
Perfect. Look, I know you're busy. You got a lot of stuff going on, obviously a lot of breaking news to cover. Pat, thank you so much for your time, man. We really do appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy. We'll see you.
All right. Pat Dooley, Gainesville Sun.